This morning, Chancellor. We'll come on to some of those questions from some of the people Ben was talking to in just a moment. Can I ask you, first of all, one very simple question? Do you believe that Liz Truss is the best person to be leading this country as Prime Minister right now?
Good morning, Charlie. Yes, I do. She's been Prime Minister for less than 5 weeks. We had a leadership contest. People voted for their preferred candidate. She won fair and square. And listening to those people in your package earlier, talking about mortgage rates, about the value of the pound, what people want more than anything else is stability. And that means political stability as well. And from my perspective, what I need to deliver as Chancellor is I can't control the markets, no Chancellor should ever seek to do that, but giving certainty over public finances, how we're going to pay for every penny that we get through the tax and spending decisions we make, those are very, very important ways that I can give certainty and help create the stability that is going to make a difference to families who right now are finding life extremely tough.
Many people are asking a very simple question, which is, why is it your predecessor, Kwasi Kwarteng, got the sack and Liz Truss remains in post? They made joint decisions which are now deemed to be flawed.
Well, I would rather have a Prime Minister who listens and learns, and I'm doing this job because I agree fundamentally with the big thing that she wants to sort out, which is this growth paradox that means that if we want to put money into brilliant public services like the NHS and keep taxes low, we've got to find a way of turbocharging growth in the economy. But there were some mistakes made in the last few weeks. That's why I'm sitting here. It was a mistake to cut the top rate of tax at a period when we were asking everyone to make sacrifices. And it was a mistake to fly blind and not to back up the economic plans that were announced with an independent forecast from the Office for Budget Responsibility. Both those things have been addressed, and now what we need to do is to try and have growth with stability, create the stability that will allow long-term growth to happen. And the one commitment I would make to Santok and Graham, I think were the two people I heard talking on the package, is that as we make these very difficult decisions on spending, very difficult decisions on tax, we will be thinking about families, businesses who are struggling at the moment. They will be at the forefront because this is a compassionate Conservative government, and we will be making sure that their needs are top of our minds as we make these, very tough decisions.
So you come into the job as Chancellor, and the first thing you're telling us on BBC Breakfast is the Prime Minister, your boss, made mistakes.
Well, I'm being straightforward about the situation, but that's what the Prime Minister wants me to do because we want to fix this. And I would say that the country are going to judge us at the next election far more by what happens over the next 18 months than what's happened over the last 18 days. And we want to put this right, but we also want to level with people that in a very, very challenging international situation, post-pandemic, cost of living crisis, Ukraine, we're going to have to make difficult decisions on spending. It's not going to rise by as much as we would have liked, and we're going to have to ask all government departments for even more efficiencies. And by the same merit, we're not going to be able to cut taxes as quickly as we wanted to, and some taxes will have to go up. That is a very difficult message, but I think we have to be honest with people that if we want to keep the rises in interest rates as low as possible, then we have to give certainty to the markets that we really can fund every penny of our plans.
One way a government can give certainty to individuals and markets is by sticking to what they say they're going to do, and that includes the Prime Minister. So Liz Truss told us very recently, we will not be cutting public spending. Is that true now as it was when she said it?
We don't want to cut public spending.
I'm going to ask you that question very carefully again.
Yeah, you've asked me,
Liz Truss said we will not be cutting public spending. So is that true?
Will you let me answer the question, Charlie?
Please do.
Thank you. I'm not going to make any commitments less than 24 hours after becoming Chancellor on any individual element of spending or tax. I would say to you, overall, I expect public spending to continue to rise. That includes very important measures that were announced by my predecessor, such as the energy price guarantee, where people's energy bills were heading for £6,500 a year. That's been capped at £2,500 for the average household. That's a very important measure that will make a very big difference to families. Also will bring down inflation by about 5%. So some very important things have happened. But straight after this, I am going to be sitting down with my officials in the Treasury. We're going to go through the whole picture. I shall be talking to the Prime Minister about it at Chequers tomorrow. And then we will announce our decisions in 2 weeks on Monday, when we have the big announcement on the 31st of October. I think that's the way we will get to the right decisions, looking at everything in the round.
Can you see that someone listening to you this morning who's using public services, could be the NHS, could be any of the organisations, who hears you unable to repeat what your Prime Minister has said? We will not be cutting public spending. You cannot repeat that to us this morning. Will think to themselves, I see a U-turn coming up.
Well, what I say to those people, every one of them, is that what you want me to be is completely honest, that we have some very difficult decisions ahead of us. But what I want to tell them is that as we take those decisions, our priorities, our values will be to think about the people who are struggling the most, businesses, families, vulnerable people. They will be in our minds. Those are our values as a compassionate Conservative government. So that's the prism through which we will approach these decisions. But I don't want to pretend that they aren't going to be very difficult. We have a very challenging economic situation. To bring back that stability that the people that you were speaking to earlier want so badly, whether it's about mortgage rates, whether it's about, the currency value, these things chancellors can't control directly, but the overall environment, to make it more stable, the one thing chancellors can do is to show that their sums add up, and that's what I need to do.
Can I ask you, Chancellor, you, as it stands, depending on quite who you are, so you can tell me the numbers if you like, the IFS is suggesting you've got a £62 billion black hole in your funding, unfunded tax cuts. Do you, as we speak this morning, know the plan?
That's what I'm going to go and work out with my officials. But what I want to say to you and people watching this morning is that we are going to take some tough decisions, not just on spending, but also on tax, because we have to show the world that we have a plan that adds up financially, and that's the way that we'll get stability back in this situation. And I want to say one other thing, if I may, Charlie. I'm doing this job because despite all those difficult decisions, I have incredible long-term confidence in our country. Best universities, some of the best universities in the world, the biggest tech sector in Europe, one of the world's great financial centres. We have enormous potential as a country. But the reason that we are still the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world, despite what people who've been down on Britain for many years have said, the reason we've stayed up there is because at big moments we've been prepared to take tough and difficult decisions, and that's what we're going to do this time too.
Jeremy Hunt, Chancellor of the Exchequer, thank you very much.